Alright, for the past three recordings, we have been focusing on issues that is related to time, like delays, data completion, set possessions, extension of time, and then liquidated damage. Okay, so now let's focus on some monetary issues here. And basically, if we talk about money, of course, we talk about payments. That is the most first and foremost, something that we are always very concerned with all the contractors, all the clients, and all that. So normally, at the beginning of the project, you will submit your S-curve to the client, and they will expect to know. This is sort of like to just prepare them about the payment, that is going to be claimed as they go along, as the whole project goes along. You see, so. That was submitted, the financial S-curve with the physical S-curve, and then after that, as the project actually starts to roll, the contractor brings in materials and all that, and machinery, start doing site clearance, build site office, and then put the materials in the warehouse, and then start to do construction work, and then after a month or two, normally the contractor will start to claim. So all the money that we're talking about here, we are talking about claims. So it's actually the requirement of the contract for the contractor to claim. So if they don't claim, you don't really have the responsibilities to pay them. So you really need to claim. So meaning that with the format that is being agreed by everybody, the contractor will claim the amount of work done or the materials that has been sent to site. Normally, when you just send the material to site, you could actually claim about 50 to 70% of the cost of materials. But this one is pretty much based on what is stated in the contract, in the documents itself. If it says 50%, then you can claim 50%. If it says 70%, then you can claim 70% of the materials, okay? The materials cost. So, because the material still needs to be translated into work done, you see. So at the end of the day, you have to base it on work done, not material alone, okay? So for the material on site, there's cost of material. So you probably need to send in all the invoices by your suppliers to say that this is the cost, and therefore the client will pay you 70% from that particular cost. And then as these materials slowly turn into the site work done, then the material will be claimed, the amount will be becoming work done, and it will become full amount as we go along. So the contractor needs to submit ideally every month a claim for payment, okay, and the client will actually access the claim via their SO. So the submission of claim is actually done. So the engineers or the SO will usually have about 14 days. These are very important dates and days. And also it varies between contract, but mostly generally it says that the engineers has about 14 days as specified in the contract in order to process the claim and forward it to the client, and the client usually have about 30 days to pay up the contractor. So altogether, from the time that you claim all the way to when you receive the money, you are looking at least 4 to 5 days. They can say working days, so end up maybe it's about 60 days. You see, so you'll be quite lucky actually to get your money within about 60 days after you put in your first claim. So in the claim, you will put down, okay, this is the amount of work that is done, and this is how much the rate is. Everything is based on whatever that is written down in the tender documents and your contract. So then after that, you will have an amount claim, and that amount claim will be deducted off 5%. It will usually be deducted off 10% of the amount claim, and that 10% will slowly work out to be 5% of the contract sum, and that 5% of the contract sum is what we call a retention sum. So the total retention sum that the client can keep from the contractor. Why do they need to keep a retention sum? Retaining, because they're worried that if the contractor don't perform and they don't want to pay them full 100%. So that 5% will always be 5% of the contract sum. So if you have a 1 million contract, you will have 50,000 money that the client will not pay you until the final date of the project, meaning not even pen ultimate claim. okay, the 50,000 will only be paid back to you upon CPC, upon the issuance of certificate of practical completion. Then you will get 2.5%, and then at the end of the deferred liability period, you get another 2.5%. So a lot of people, if you're not careful about that 2.5% towards the end, you may end up forgetting all about it, and that is almost like a discount that you're giving to a client. So if your project is so big, so huge, and your profit margin is about 5%, then you're already giving away 2.5% to the client, and that is really, really sick, so you shouldn't do that. So it's really a lot of work to keep this thing in track and to be informed, because you've got so many projects ongoing at the same time, and then after a year you forgot that there is some, that there's another 2.5% that needs to be claimed back, you see. So and then you need to make sure that you claim it back, you see. So if not, then sometimes some client is very sneaky. They will just take the sweet time, then you claim at 2.5%, they will wait for 5 months to pay you, 6 months to pay you, and then sometimes you even forget about the claim that you've made, you see. So it's something that we have to be very aware of. It's something that's why it's project management. To keep a good way, you must find a good way of keeping that record. So retention sum is always every claim, from the first claim all the way, they will take 10% of the claim amount that is approved. So let's say your claim amount, you have a 5 million contract, your first claim is 500,000. So that is being approved already. So then you will only get 450,000 back, okay, 450,000 back, until that 10% ends up to be 5% of the contract sum, and that will be your full retention sum, okay. And then that will be all the claim is going to be followed by a certificate of payment. So meaning that once you put in the claim, the 14 days, the SO certified, they will come up with a certificate of payment, and this certificate of payment will be given to the client, and the client will make the payment. So this is the term that we use. So on the second last payment, which is the penultimate payment, that one is corresponding with the certificate of practical completion. So you remember your time lecture just now, the recording, in recording 2 or 3, I mentioned that there is a practical completion. So the engineers will issue what we call certificate of practical completion, and from that certificate you can claim your penultimate. So CPC goes with the penultimate claim, goes with the penultimate certificate, and then goes with the penultimate payment. And then after defects liability is over and you've done all the defects, you repair everything, and then the client comes out. They will come and we together have another meeting, which is what we call post-mortem, or final meeting, to go through all the site, go through our entire site again, and then to check there's no more defects and no more problems. Usually there will be, like some painting work, some cleaning work, and all that they'll get you to do. They'll try to push you to do it for free anyway, because right before the final handing over date. So in that final handing over date, you have your final claim, your final certificates, and your final payment. So this is the name that we use, and these are the clauses that you will see. There will be clauses on claims, there will be clauses on penultimate claims, and there will be clauses on final claims. So these are the terms that you have to be very aware of. And then the next term is retention. So retention, like I said, every claim you take 10% up to the amount is built up to 5% of the contract sum. Then that's it. The client cannot retain more than 5%, and that out of that 5%, 2.5% will be given back upon the certificate of practical completion is issued, and it will be part of the claim in the penultimate claim that you claim back 2.5% of your retention sum, and the other 2.5% will be after the final payment, when you're making the final payment. Okay, so this is what we talk about when we talk about money. Okay, so retention and all that. So let's stop here.